The next morning, we woke up bright and early to get breakfast at this mom and pop shop that was famous for their 韭菜盒子, which roughly translates to a savory pocket pie stuffed with chives and eggs. We bought a couple different versions of the 韭菜盒子 along with this beef roll stuffed with green onions and a tofu and cabbage pie. We then hopped on a bus to go to Yehliu Geopark, which is an iconic must-visit day trip destination located in northern Taiwan. It's only about an hour out from Taipei City on bus, which doesn't sound that bad, but you should be warned that you might experience car sickness because the roads were very windy and narrow. Yehliu Geopark is known for its incredibly beautiful landscape filled with uniquely shaped rocks that were created naturally from sea erosion. It's one of those places that you won't get to see anywhere else in the world, so I'd highly recommend taking a trip here if you have a few hours to spare in Taipei. Out of the thousands of rocks that you'll see here in Yehliu, the most iconic of them all is a 4,000-year-old rock named the Queen's Head for its resemblance to England's late Queen Elizabeth. As you can see, there was a very long line just to get a picture with this rock. This was fascinating to me because it feels like someone just woke up one day and decided that this rock is better than all the other rocks here because it looks like someone semi-important, and now there's families spending their Saturdays waiting in line for a picture with this rock, but I don't know, maybe that's just me. I know I complained a lot about the heat yesterday, but today was so much worse because the sun was so much more intense here than in the city. After Yehliu, we took a taxi to Jiufen, which was probably my favorite part of the entire Taiwan trip. Jiufen is this charming mountain town in northeastern Taiwan that is known for being an inspiration to the film Spirited Away. Compared to the constant hustle and bustle of Taipei City, Jiufen had a much more calm and relaxed environment. We spent the rest of the day walking along Jiufen Old Street, which was filled with quaint little shops selling handmade goods, delicious food stalls, and gorgeous sweeping views of the mountainside. A street food that Jiufen is known for are these freshly made taro balls that were so chewy and soft at the same time. Truly, I don't think I can ever look at fresh taro balls the same after that. An experience that's unique to Jiufen that I kept reading about was to have the ultimate tea experience in a tea house. This is a really popular thing in mainland China, and not to brag or anything, but when I was 6, I actually took a class specifically to learn tea etiquette and how to make and pour tea for people. So you can call me a tea pouring expert or whatever. The tea house we chose is famous for being the oldest tea house in Jiufen, and it's literally called the Jiufen Tea House. The calm and peaceful environment of this place was such a nice escape from all of the travel angst that built up the past few days.
这个时间的话，我们第二泡的时间你们自己泡的时候不用太久，如果太久的话喝起来会比较浓郁一点，大概15秒倒出来就可以了。那这个茶叶大概可以泡6次。
We spent the rest of the night exploring Jiufen Old Street, but before we hopped on the bus back to the city, I had to stop for an iconic Jiufen dessert, which is the peanut ice cream roll. It's exactly what it sounds like, 2 scoops of ice cream topped with crushed peanuts rolled up in a spring roll wrapper. It honestly didn't blow my mind the way that the taro balls did, but I'd still say it's worth a try. In the morning, we first headed to the Yat Sen or Zhongzheng Memorial Hall. If you don't know, Zhongzheng is a revered political figure in both mainland China and in Taiwan, and he's often referred to as the father of the nation. You can see here that a really common thing in the mornings are middle-aged to older-aged people practicing martial arts in public spaces. I'm really not sure exactly what they're practicing here, but it was quite a sight to behold. Next, we headed to the Chiang Shek or Jiang Memorial Hall, which is this beautiful park built in 1979 to commemorate the military leader of the Nationalist Party. Although he is now a controversial figure in the country, he was integral to the establishment of the Taiwan we know today. The Memorial Hall is characterized by these gorgeous white buildings with blue rooftops and a very large Chiang Kai-shek statue sitting in the middle. Overall though, the park was very well kept and definitely seemed like a popular hangout spot for both tourists and locals. By this point, all of us were hangry and dying to escape the heat and humidity of the city, so we headed to a famous traditional Taiwanese breakfast place. This place was incredibly popular and had a line waiting out the door when we arrived. We got the classic combo of youtiao and soy milk, along with some dumplings and egg rolls. Overall though, I thought this place was good, but nothing that memorable. With our stomachs now satisfied and the sun being out, all guns blazing, the only thing we cared about for our next destination was finding somewhere with a powerful air conditioning system. We settled on the National Palace Museum that supposedly held all the treasures that the Nationalist Party brought over when they fled to Taiwan during the Civil War. But truthfully, I could have cared less about the treasures. I'm sure they were great, but the jet lag and the heat was really getting to me, and all I wanted to do was sit and enjoy my AC. Finally, we got to try Ruifang, or Taiwanese braised pork rice, which is one of the most beloved comfort meals in Taiwan, and is something I personally wanted to eat for a really long time. This place was featured in a Mark Wiens video and was rated one of the best and most affordable Ruifang places in all of Taipei. It looks like a pretty unassuming dish at first, but the pork belly pieces were the perfect mix of fatty and lean, with flavor oozing out and coating the rice. I think it lived up to the hype for sure.